Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Shooting the with Yankee. As always, I'm Yankee. And today we're going to be talking about carry in a place of worship. Do you think it's okay? Do you carry to church or wherever you worship at? Or would you if you went to church? Also, would you do it only if the church told you could? Would you do it whether they said you could or not? Because, that's between you and Jeebus, whether you're carrying a gun or not. Or do you think it's a bad thing? Do you think you shouldn't carry a weapon into a place of worship because it clearly shows that you don't trust your Lord and Savior to protect you while you're there? Let me know what you think. I'll start us off by saying I haven't gone to church since I got old enough to tell my mom that I ain't going unless you think you can pick me up and carry me. Because we used to go 3 times a week, and I was sick of it by like the age 13, 14 years old, and said, I don't think you can force me, and therefore I ain't going. I still went on like holidays, sometimes Easter, Christmas. But if I was going to go to church, I would definitely carry a church. Because here's the thing. No, I don't trust any supreme being to protect me. I only trust me to protect me. So if I was going to church, I would definitely carry. I wouldn't care what their rules were. If they find out I'm carrying and they don't like it, tell me not to come. Won't break my heart. But I'm not going to be undefended, nor is my family going to be undefended at church just because it's a church. Like I said, I don't believe in higher powers, well, except for Phil. And Phil ain't going to protect you. Phil's like, you got the good sense to carry a gun. If you want to protect yourself, protect yourself. It's not on him to make sure that there's one more monkey alive tomorrow than there could be if you weren't protected. So don't count on Phil. He ain't going to do nothing for you. So if I was going to go to church, I would definitely carry. None of this, I trust in a higher power to protect me, because we see that ain't true. Churches are soft targets. They're places where people feel they can make a big political statement or any type of statement. They can create terror and mistrust and all this other stuff by attacking churches. So I think if you go to church and you're not armed, well, you're putting yourself in harm's way, and that's something you shouldn't do. And with that being said, let's go see if people are weighing in and what they think. Maybe we got the people that go to church in here. They'll answer it a little differently than me. You never know. There's some people in here who believe in a supreme being. I do not. Said that before. Johnny Mandrick chimed in here and says, if the church allows it, do what you want. If they don't, don't. Well, I'm different. I say same thing with the mall. They say don't carry. I carry. If they don't like it and they find out, they can throw me out. The fact I'm carrying is between me and who's the Lord of the mall, who's God of malls. I don't know, but it's between me and them, or it's between me and Phil. Phil don't care. He don't give a shit. If I tell him I'm carrying in the mall, well, fuck you telling me. I don't care. I got more important things to worry about than your little monkey ass. Edgar Cortez, who came up with today's topic, by the way. If you've got a topic for us to discuss that you'd like to weigh in on during this channel or this chat, let me know. I don't mind using other people's topics. Actually, I prefer it. That way I don't got to think of nothing. He said, I always carry in places of worship. I feel that more good guys should carry in churches. It's not sinful. It depends on who you talk to, I guess. But if you don't find it sinful, well, then good, carry. Practical Bacon says, yes, good guy with a gun has been proven in a church. It's been proven everywhere. It's one of those things where they keep saying the good guy with a gun fallacy. It's only a fallacy if you ignore the thousands of times it happens. You just saying it doesn't happen, the people on the left, doesn't mean it's true. You just say shit. I can say Donald Trump has a 90% approval rating. Doesn't make it true, although I did see that on Facebook today. It says 92% of all people that voted for Trump approve of him and would vote for him again. What do you think? I'm like, well, for one, I think that's a fake post. I don't think that's a real statistic. So people can say what they want. The good guy with the gun is not a fallacy. It's a truth, a constant, actually. It happened in Seattle just the other day. Gummy Wuzzle said, seriously, I carry anywhere I'm surrounded by people of questionable values, churches especially. Yes. Yes, there are some questionable value people in church, I will say. You ever looked at the past of a lot of people that are in your church? A lot of them found Jesus when they hit rock bottom. So I'm like, I don't, just in case you decide to hit rock bottom again, I'm going to be protected from people outside. I worry more about people outside the church. I believe if they're actively coming to the church, they're probably not looking to hurt nobody and they're really trying to change your ways. But you never know. Some of them might be assholes. I've met an asshole or two in a church. I've been to a lot of churches. I took religious studies in college. So part of that was we met every week and went to a different type of church, a different denomination. So I've been everything from Catholic masses to snake handling jigabaloos. And I can tell you, there's some crazy people in those places. And there are people that I believe that are in those churches that would definitely hurt you if they thought you were something they don't agree with. So yeah, carry it church. Heavy J said, do it. This is America after all. It is America. Merca, I prefer than Merca. I don't need the I. That's all. That's too much spelling. For my taste, Ghost Shadow, church closet to my house. Closest church closet. I'm like, what's he doing in the church closet? That sounds dirty. Church closest to my house in Alaska had an M13 ACP with M2 on top in front of the church. They didn't think they had issues with guns, didn't go to church. Well, you didn't even go. Why didn't you go? You should have went. Maybe you changed your evil ways. Some of you need Jesus in here, I think. The Ghost Shadow would definitely be one of them. If anybody needed Jesus, it'd be Ghost Shadow. Felice Shanice says, in today's climate, I think it's almost mandatory. I kind of agree because they are soft targets. They're like schools. You know, next to a school, the best target you can hit if you want to make a statement and get a lot of attention is a church. I think that'd be the number 2 target for bad guys. I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that. I'm not saying it's the most commonly hit target. I'm thinking it would be the number 2 most effective target to make a political statement or a religious statement or something. Mr. Furley says, yes, the Second Amendment protecting the First. Yes, your freedom of religion. People forget that part of the First Amendment. Now, that doesn't mean you're free to enforce your religion on anybody. It just means you're free to worship any way you want. One of the things I think most people who are religious should remember, including when it comes to having a gun on you, is your religion tells you what you can and can't do. It does not tell me what I can and can't do. You don't have any right to enforce your positions on me. Machine Gun Clemens just said, hello, Yankee. That's not adding a whole lot to the conversation, but hello. Heavy J says, yes, I did it. Fanny pack, ankle, pocket, not at all once, but I always had a method, and no, I didn't do it in a suit, just Dickies, pants, and shirts. Well, I didn't see you wearing a suit to church. I didn't ever wear a suit to church. I didn't go to that kind of church. I've been to those kinds of churches like Catholic masses and stuff. My cousins are all Catholic. But my church was, jeans and a polo shirt kind of a thing, or shorts in the summertime. A lot of people would put on a button-up shirt if they wanted to be fancy, but ties, the only people who had a tie on was the preacher, the assistant preacher, and some of the deacons. Those were the only people that would actually like, and a lot of times it was like a short sleeve shirt and a clip-on tie with slacks. Like they fell out of a Sears catalog from 1972. But no, definitely not fancy at my church. I went to the Gospel Lighthouse. What do you think that sounds like? That was the name of our church, the Gospel Lighthouse. And it was way up on the top of a mountain, on the top of the hill in Crowdell Park. And it was just a pain in the ass to get to every year. Loved it when it snowed because the bus couldn't get up the hill. We wouldn't be able to get to church. So if they couldn't get it plowed the night before. Coral here said, oops, I missed Mikey D. Mikey D said, carry away. I don't go, but bad things everywhere. Yes, there are bad people everywhere. That's why I always tell people, you ever watch that show Locked Up or whatever it's called that's got all the like crazy, insane people on it that are in prison? I was like, see, those people are real. And I guarantee you, no matter where you're at, nicest part of town, worst part of town, there's at least one of those people within a half-mile radius of you. Even if they're just wandering through, they're there. So keep in mind, don't be naive. There's bad people out there. There are monsters, and monsters are real, but they're people. Coral said, yes, especially in a church, this is a place of admitted sinners. Well, everybody is a sinner. That's one of the biggest rackets of religion. You know, they couldn't just make it to where only bad people felt guilty. They had to say, well, everybody's born guilty. That way you don't have an out to say, I'm a good person. I've done nothing wrong. Treat people right. I don't need to go to church. They took that away with the original sin argument. Pocket Sand, I'm not a big fan of religion. It was forced on me in my youth. I seem to recall something about not having a sword and selling your cloak to get one. Well, people like to pick and choose, especially they like to take Old Testament stuff to override the stuff in the New Testament. Like if Jesus said turn the other cheek, they'd go back to something like, but in Genesis, you know, they go back to the Old Testament, even though they'll also tell you out of the same mouth that the New Testament was the new contract between God and people, and that the Old Testament was null and void. But then they'll go back to the Old Testament to justify things they want to justify. Dale Rickety, yes, carrying places of worship is good. Well, good. I'm glad you think it's good. He didn't say whether he goes or not. I'm guessing he probably don't go. He strikes me as a sinful man. That's what my grandfather used to say. There's sinful man. Because he was talking about my other grandfather, because my other grandfather was an atheist. So my one grandfather would say my other grandfather is a sinful man. He don't know no better. He just, you know, the devil's in him because of all the things he's seen. And this is coming from a guy who used to be an enforcer for the mob and the riverboat connections down through there. He's broken more legs and disposed of some bodies in his life than most people could think of. So, but he was calling my other grandfather a sinful man because he was an atheist. Let's see. Flash in the pan said definitely should carry in church always. Well, don't always be at church. I mean, I guess whenever you're there, you should carry, but don't always be at church. That's going to make you pretty boring. We got one more person weighing in. One last comment here, and it's from Fire Goozy. And Fire Goose said, ask Jack Wilson if you should carry in church. Well, yeah, you definitely should ask him. And what's the other guy's name? The one that had to run, get his gun, come back, chase him off. I mean, I'll say it's the whole, when they say, oh, the good guy with a gun is a fallacy. It's so not a fallacy. It happens all the time. You just choose to ignore it and you pretend that if you ignore it, it doesn't happen. Even though, at most, if you take all the people that are killed by guns every year and add it up to the number of people who successfully defend themselves with a gun, compare them, far more people successfully defend themselves than others with guns. So to pretend that the good guy with a gun thing is a fallacy, that requires a special level of dishonesty. But that I'm getting out of off topic here. But that does it for us today. Thanks everybody for weighing in. How about you out there in the YouTube lands? Do you think it's okay to carry church? Would you carry church? Do you think it's sinful and you shouldn't? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to weigh in on one of these topics in person, show up for one of our live chats. Heck, you can even send me topics for chat if you want to, and maybe show up for that one. Hope to see you in a live chat someday soon. Hope to see everybody over here again tomorrow. And thanks for weighing in. I will see you all later. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again. Hey everybody, Yankee here. Before we go, I just want to take a second to remind everyone that this channel is 100% viewer funded. We don't take a penny from advertisers, retailers. We don't take money from political organizations. There's no one telling me what I need to tell you. Everything that we do is done through the generosity of our viewers, either buying merchandise or becoming a patron or a Subscribe Star member. You're all the ones that support Pets and Vets and TYMP. And that's the reason I can stay true to myself and loyal only to the people who watch my channel. And I can spend my time talking about what I want to talk about, telling what I think needs to be said, and giving you my uncensored take on things I think you need to hear. So if you'd like to help keep things that way, please support the channel by becoming a patron, a Subscribe Star supporter, or just going over to my web store and buying some merch. The links are all in the upper corner of this video.